students. So I'm going to take the opportunity to do a quick tutorial on how to set up your learning reflections for my class. So I'm going to start right now. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. Perfect. So at this point, you should be seeing something that says APA resources. I just want to point this out because in the module for the introduction of this class, you will find that there is a tab that says APA resources. Here you can find a video tutorial setting up your APA 7th edition writing, your citations, a sample paper. Let's go ahead and download that so that you can see what a sample paper looks like. So in the sample paper, you'll see that there is the setup of the title page with the page numbers on the right-hand side, your title bold in the center, your name, class name, instructor's name, and the date. We don't need to worry about abstracts or author's notes. I'll go over that in a second for you, but for this class, you do not need to worry about abstract or author's notes. And then here we go. We start with the introduction statement here. You just basically bold and center again the title just like you did at the beginning. And as you can see, there's page numbers here still attached. So again, the sample paper is a good way for you to find information on how to write, how to cite, and how to make sure that your paper is properly APA edition 7th ready to go. So I'm just scrolling down here so that you can see the references. References are set up in alphabetical order with a hanging indent. Hanging indent just basically means that there is a tab in the second line of the reference. So again, here is the sample page. Now we're going to go ahead and start working on setting up our learning reflection. So for those of you that aren't aware, Southwestern College, if you go to the Southwestern College webpage and you log in, you do have access to Google Docs. So here, if you click under G Suite, you will see the Docs here, which will be set up with your Google Drive. If you have Microsoft Word or another Word program at home, don't worry about this, but this is just how I'm going to be teaching this tutorial. So here you click on where it says Start a New Document, open up the page. The first thing that you're going to see is just a blank Word document. Go ahead and save that under the title that you want to use. I usually recommend using the title, maybe your last name, so that you're easily able to find when you are submitting. So again, the first thing that we're going to do now is we're going to insert page numbers. I want you to go up to the tab where it says Insert, and then just click on where it says Page Numbers. You want to make sure page numbers are located in the upper right-hand corner of your page, so you're just going to go ahead and click. And there you go. Page numbers are set up and ready to go. Now you're going to work on your title page. So what I want you to do is go down to about 1/4 of the page. Go ahead and center because the title page will be centered. So click on the center here. Go ahead and hit double space because APA is double spaced. I personally like Times New Roman, but you're welcome to use Times New Roman, Calibri, or Arial. Those are the preferred APA fonts. And I also would like you to switch it over to 12 font. Again, APA is 12 font, double space, and again, we're setting up your title page right now. So the first thing that you want to do is go ahead and bold the title. So I'm just going to bold this title, Learning Reflection. You can title it the name of the assignment or whatever artistic name you want to do. I'm not very creative here. I'm just titling it Learning Reflection. Now I want you to do 2 spaces because there is a space between the title and your name. Go ahead and unbold that and then type your name, maybe your professor's name, the class, and the date. And there you go. Your title page is set up for this class. Nice and easy. Now we're going to go ahead and now work on your response page. I'm going to go ahead and enter a page break here. Page break just makes it a little bit cleaner. It moves all your information to the next page. So sometimes you turn in a page and it's shifted and it's moved. It's probably because you've been, tabbing or entering. A page break just serves the purpose of making things a little bit cleaner and sharper. So we're going to start our response page with titling it the same way as the title of the paper. So here we go, Learning Reflection. The same title goes here, Learning Reflection. So this is a header in APA. Now what I want you to do is we're going to start a new paragraph. Whenever you start an introduction paragraph or a paragraph for APA, please tab, okay? It just makes it a little bit, again, cleaner, organized, and this is one of the rules of APA. So always do an introduction statement. So for example, making sure that this is not bold. Psychology is awesome. That is my introduction statement. If you are talking about a theory, if you're going to answer a prompt, you just want to introduce the subject that you're talking about. And of course, you want to end your introduction always with a thesis statement. So for example, let's say psychology is one of the most interesting topics, and this will be explored through Freud and Erickson's theories. So this tells me that you're going to be talking about Freud and Erickson on your paper. So again, it doesn't have to be a long introduction. It could be 3 or 4 sentences, just a way to introduce. You can also answer part of the prompt through the introduction. So always just make sure that you have an introduction statement, 2 or 3 sentences to support, and then a thesis to wrap things up. Next, we're going to be moving on to body paragraphs. Again, just make sure that your body paragraphs are tabbed at the beginning. You want to take this opportunity to always explain and thoroughly answer the prompt. So you have an introduction here, your response in the second body paragraph. And I always tell students that it's nice to end your essay with a short little conclusion. So for example, after reviewing Freud and Erickson's theories, it can be concluded that G. Awesome. So just a nice little conclusion statement. Doesn't, again, have to be long, but it does make your writing clearer, smoother. If you've ever opened up a book that just has writing and writing, and it doesn't have any spaces or anything like that, just know how sometimes it's not very nice to get to that page. So again, make sure that you have a nice little introduction, you answer the prompt clearly, and then you do a nice little conclusion. And what we're going to do is we're going to insert our references. So go ahead and add another page break. Center the references here, bold. If you have just reference, go ahead and put reference like this. If you have multiple references, then go ahead and just put an S at the end there. Remember that when you are discussing a paper, you never want to not have a reference because the information has to come from somewhere. So at a minimum, I always ask my students to always have their textbook as part of their references. So in setting up your references, you're welcome to look through the sample paper. It gives you a lot of different ways of how to set up references. For the most part, you're always going to have the author's last name, first initial, the year of publication, maybe the textbook or the article, and then also maybe the web page where you took the information from. So at the very least, this is what I would be expecting from you. Just keep in mind that when doing references in APA, there is something called a hanging indent. Basically what that means is that the second line is going to be tapped. So if you want to move this over, it's always tricky to play with your computer to figure that out. I don't usually use Google, so you just really have to play with your formatting to make sure that you are able to set the second line with a tab. So there you go. So again, this is called a hanging indent. I want to just quickly go over citations. So for example, if you're saying psychology is awesome, you want to make sure that you reference the author's last name, and the year. And that is how you cite during APA. If this were to be a direct quote, then you have to just include the page number, author's name, and year. So pretty simple there, but It is something that is sometimes missed by students, so I just wanted to bring that up. Just a little other note, APA does need you to mainly write in third person. What that means is avoiding the use of I, we, us, because, a lot. Those tend to be more slang. So we want to move our language to a more scholarly level. I will remind you that I am not an English teacher, so you won't be getting marked down too much when it comes to grammar and composition and things like that. At the most, you'll get a comment from me that says, watch out for run-on sentences, or I can't really understand, please rewrite. But as long as you're able to get your point across, that your paper is nice and organized, we shouldn't have any problems with getting you full credit for the learning reflection. But if you have any trouble along the way, always feel free to email me, and I'm happy to set up some office hours so that we can chat more. So once you're done with your learning reflection, save it. I always recommend students save it to the desktop and then upload it. So it'll look something like this if you've never turned in an assignment before. This is the student view, so it'll give you the option up here in the right-hand corner to submit assignment. Once you do, you can upload your assignment here. This is the rubric that I use for grading learning reflection, so you can review that later. You can also upload from the Google Drive. What I want to avoid though is having students email me their papers, as this has to go through a plagiarism checker. So please always make sure that you are submitting through Canvas.